blowing snow is almost unbearable. It's 19 degrees out here. Well, good thing I dressed well. Tonight, if I stay out here, I'm going to need something more than what I've got. Bring a sleeping bag or anything like that. If I'm going to sleep out here tonight, I'm going to have to find something that's going to keep me warm. Now I can make use of the sedges, like this sedge grass right here, use it as an insulator, and stuff my clothes with it, or gather armloads of it, and build a bed out of it to crawl into. They're soft, cottony, and they insulate really well. So do these bristle grasses. Bristle grasses will work too. They take up the whole plant and use it for bedding. You can cover up with it, and it'll do a great job at keeping you warm in the wintertime. Yeah, so long as it isn't wet. You got to keep that stuff dry. And if you can't find any sedge grasses or anything like that to help protect yourself, what you can do is find a sheltered place like this that's out of the wind. And you can hear the wind in the trees above me, but down here on the ground where I'm at, it's much calmer. And also, I've got all this leaf litter on the ground, and even though it's wet, it'll get me wet if I lay on it, but it'll still insulate. Even if it's wet, it'll insulate. And you can use stuff like this to get warm with. Although it isn't exactly desirable, I'd rather have something nice and fluffy and dry. But if I had nothing else, this I could make use of. This has gone way beyond your average summer camp out. If you're out in the open somewhere and you can't get into a sheltered woods like that, what you can do is find a nice thick tree like this, a cedar tree right here, and stand on the lee side of it, or on the back side where the wind is blowing towards you, and it'll break the wind. And right here, it's the temperature even feels a lot warmer right here because I don't have that wind rushing across me. So occasionally you can stop at a place like this and get out of the wind and recuperate yourself a little bit. You don't have to be out there and enduring the freezing cold every second when you're out in the weather like this, because there are places you can go. Look at this. Black walnuts everywhere. If any of these walnuts are good, I can use them for food, and I can press oil out of them to make a torch or a lamp to heat my hot rocks. Well, I'm going to pick a few of these up. I'm going to shuck these open and see if there's anything in them. Crush them like that. Oh yeah, look at that right there. Yeah, this one isn't too good. It's just got this outer casing of the nut on there. But you know what? That's edible. That's completely edible, so I'm going to eat it. Now I'll get a good meal from here today. And these little high bush cranberries right here. After they've been frozen a few times, they turn really sweet. That's good. Now let's see what's on the menu over here. We got these garlic pepper creasy greens. They taste like garlic. And also, we got wild carrot, or the Daucus carota. And plenty of those right here. So even though it's 19 degrees outside. You can plainly see these plants are surviving the weather just fine. Where they are today anyway. Don't ever be afraid to find food out in the wilderness, even if the ground is all covered up with snow, because like these carrot plants right here, see, this is Doctor's Carota right here. You see the flowers, they're 3 or 4 feet tall. And they always stick up, the snow doesn't lay them over, so you can always find these. And where the adult plants down on the ground level, go all the way down here to the ground. You see that little baby carrot plant right there? That's food right there. Don't ever be afraid of not being able to find food in the woods in the wintertime, because it's everywhere. This bird's nest. This bird's nest is going to make a perfect tinder bundle for my fire tonight. Oh, these are a favorite everywhere. Wild onions. Oh, wild garlic. See right there, see the onion? Well, I need to get back to putting my duvet together. I need to gather up enough vegetables and other plants out here to make me a nice pot of stew for tonight. We've got a lot of work to do. My name is Jack Survival. Thank you for watching. See those leaves right there? Get it better. Follow the stem all the way to the ground. As you can see, the leaves grow in segments. A segment right there, a segment right there, a segment right there, so on and so forth, all the way down to the ground. And the roots are down in there, so I'm going to dig some of those up. And also, growing right next to it is some stinging nettle. Yeah, middle of February, there's stinging nettle growing right there. And that's a real good food too. I'm going to pick that and I'm going to eat it. It has to be cooked first, of course, but I'm going to get that. But I'm going to dig up these Jerusalem artichokes. And the ground right now isn't really too bad frozen, so I should just be able to dig around and say, look, there's one right there. Yeah, I'm going to dig up a handful. And try to rinse them off a little bit, and I'll show you what they look like. Set these aside right there. There we go. See, there we go. There's a good view of them right there. Like that. Yeah, I'm kind of thirsty, so I'm going to get some water out of this mud puddle right here. It's just a depression in one of the pudding stones here, a nice flat spot. There's a good drink of water. I'm going to get some of it. Alright, that's better. Yeah, I'm going to use this water to rinse some roots off with. And then I'm going to go back to the cave and see what I can do with it. Alright, these are what the Jerusalem artichokes look like. Once you get them up out of the ground and wash them off. various shapes. Very distinctive. They very much resemble a red russet potato. And they taste a lot like a potato. A little more earthy though, but they're really, really good. I'm glad I found these. That's going to be a good meal. This is stinging nettle. And of course the stinging nettle is good for making cordage out of when they get older. But these young tender plants like this, so I'm surprised I found them today. But these young tender plants, you just double boil them and eat them like a pot herb, and they're really, really good. They're kind of like spinach. So, yeah, excellent. Stinging nettles like that. Just about every case where I've found them out in the wild, where I found Jerusalem artichokes, I've also found stinging nettle growing right together as a colony. They kind of coexist with each other. So those are likely places to look is for the stinging nettle patches. Of course, you can see the remnants of those a lot easier than sometimes than you can the Jerusalem artichokes. But if you closely inspect the whole patch, you'll find the stems of the Jerusalem artichokes coming up out of it. So that's a useful tip. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. Look what I found. A couple earthworms. Yep. 3 or 4 of these earthworms has more protein in them than a quarter-pound hamburger. So, just that. That rain didn't last too long. I was just out walking around. I found some wild mushrooms growing on this oak tree branch here. They're called leaf jellies. See a little mushroom right there? Pick it off of there. See how they kind of wriggle like jelly? They look like leaves almost. These are really good. There's a bunch of them. This branch is covered with them. So I'll go ahead and gather some of these too. This is an excellent food source here. Yeah, there's a nice one right there. Look at that. Yep, good food. That's all there is on that branch. But still, that's a fairly good sized handful of them right there, though. See? Yep, almost home now. I'm kind of walking all day. That pemmican sure came in handy. Yep, just to kind of rehash everything I talked about this week. I try to rely on my clothing to keep me warm when I'm out in a winter environment like that, and not my ability to build a fire. Your clothing's the most important thing. And as long as you're dressed well and you don't sweat or get wet, your clothes will keep you warm. There was a couple times this week where I did sweat and my feet got sweaty. The liners of my boots got moistened from that, and of course I had to stop and dry them out with a fire. But I was using the fire to dry my clothes, and not necessarily to keep me warm. And that's a very important philosophy to stand on when you go out into the wilderness like that, is to dress properly and not rely on a fire to keep you warm. So you'll go a lot further when you dress according to that way of thinking. It's a lot better. And I didn't really get a chance to discuss everything I wanted to discuss with you, like how to work with pine pitch and how to make certain things with pine sap, and making cordage and things like that. So I'll have to do that on another show. And as far as gathering the foods out in the wintertime like that, I've tried to show you every available thing there is, except I didn't show you maple seeds. You can find maple seeds on the ground under a maple tree. Beech nuts. The beech nuts that fall out of the trees are really, really good. They're tiny and they're kind of hard to shell out, so they're a little bit of work. But there's some effort that goes into it. But the food you get is well worth it. And I didn't really touch on any of the root barks that you can gather and roast and grind up and eat. Even though I've mentioned them, I didn't actually show you that, and that's something I want to show you later on. But I won't be able to do it on this film. That'll be some other time. And I tell you, I'm tired. I've just been walking for 8 days now, just walking back to the 2-3 different campsites, and dealing with all the cold and the wet and all that. It really taxes your strength and your stamina, and that's the two most important things when you're in a survival situation, is to keep a lively wit about yourself and to not let the environment get the better of you. If it gets you down, you'll give up. If you give up, you're dead. And that's not good.